Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to build a communication toolkit from the ground up. We're talking about the skills you need to really create understanding, to guide conversations, and even resolve conflict. And we're going to start with the tool that might surprise you.
So, let me just throw this out there. What if I told you that the single most powerful tool you have for communicating with other people isn't about speaking at all? What if it's about not speaking? Let's dive into that.
Okay, first tool in the box, the power of silence. Seriously, before we can even think about speaking well or listening deeply, we have to get comfortable with just being present. This is the foundation that everything else gets built on.
Now look, this one can be really tough. Most of us are kind of trained to think silence is awkward, right? A pause happens in a conversation, and our immediate instinct is to jump in and fill that gap with anything. But that rush often stops a much deeper conversation from ever taking place.
So I want you to start thinking of silence not as empty space, but as working space. It serves two amazing functions at once. For the person talking, it gives them the room they need to actually process what they're thinking and find the right words. And for you, the listener, it's your chance to really digest what you're hearing and think about a meaningful response instead of just reacting.
And while all that quiet is happening, you have this huge opportunity. Because study after study shows that when we're talking face-to-face, a staggering 90% of what we're communicating is actually nonverbal.
Silence lets you see what's really being said. You get to observe. Are they fidgeting? That could be discomfort. Are they looking away? Or do you see that look of deep thought on their face? Maybe even tears welling up. Or just a simple shift in how they're sitting. These nonverbal cues, they're often way more honest than the words that come out.
Okay, so let's see how this all connects. Once we've created that powerful space with silence, we can move on to the next tool in our kit. This is the core skill of all effective communication, really listening beyond just the words.
I love this analogy. This is just perfect. See, there are two levels of listening. Paraphrasing is like hearing the lyrics of a song. You get the facts, you understand the what, you can repeat the key points back. But reflecting, that's about hearing the music. It's about catching the emotion, the feeling, the how behind the words. It's the difference between hearing the story and actually understanding the experience.
And this is absolutely critical. We're often pretty good at reflecting someone's pain, trying to console them. But it is just as powerful to reflect their joy with that same level of energy. When you do that, you're not just celebrating with them, you're validating their success, and that actually encourages more of it. The legendary psychotherapist Carl Rogers, he just nailed it with this quote. Empathy is seeing the world through their eyes, feeling it as if you were them, but, and this is key, without ever forgetting that you're not. That as if is the heart and soul of deep, reflective listening.
All right, so we've got silence and we've got deep listening for those one-on-one connections. But what about groups? Let's add a third tool to our kit, the role of the facilitator. This is all about guiding a conversation, whether you're in a team meeting at work or just trying to sort something out with your family.
You know, being a great facilitator really boils down to three core principles. Number one, your job is to draw out ideas from everyone, not just the loudest person in the room. Two, keep the conversation focused on the practical stuff, the how and the what we can do. And three, this one is non-negotiable. You have to stay neutral. You can't take sides. Your job is to guide the process, not to decide who wins.
And that idea of neutrality brings us to a really common trap. It's so easy to see someone who's struggling and just pour all of our attention and support onto them. It feels like the right thing to do.
But what's the hidden cost of doing that? Why is it actually so important, maybe even more important, to give just as much energy and support to the people who are succeeding?
Because this is where the real strategy comes in. When you make a big deal about success, you're modeling the exact behavior you want to see from the whole group. It keeps your high performers motivated, and it gives anyone who's struggling a super clear, positive target to aim for. It completely flips the script from I get attention when I have a problem to I get attention when I find a solution.
All right, let's get into our final section. We're talking about the advanced skills now. This is for navigating those really tough, emotionally charged, difficult conversations. And the master tool here is a concept called immediacy. It's the ability to gently pull a conversation away from arguing about the past or worrying about the future, and instead focus everyone's attention on what's actually happening emotionally, right here, right now, in the room. So it sounds something like this. Instead of getting sucked into the drama of whatever story they're telling, you can use immediacy to pause and say, hey,
As you're telling me this, I can hear a lot of emotion in your voice. What are you feeling right in this moment? You see? You're not judging the story. You're helping them connect to what's real for them right now. It's incredibly powerful for de-escalating tension.
And for those times when conflict is unavoidable, having a clear process is a lifesaver. Remember, the goal isn't to win, it's to find a solution. First, you have to understand. Hear each side out, separately. Then, communicate those perspectives back and forth. Then you brainstorm solutions together. And hey, if you get stuck, there is no shame in bringing in a neutral third party to mediate before you try to land on a final resolution.
Because here's the bottom line. The real enemy in any conflict, it's not the other person. It's our own body's stress response, that deep, primal fight or flight instinct. Every single skill we've talked about today, silence, listening, immediacy, is really a tool to help us manage that response, so we can make space for a calmer, more human conversation.
So, there you go. From the foundation of silence to the framework for finding solutions, the tools are now in your hands. You have the toolkit. The only question left is, how are you going to use it to transform your next conversation?